Ladies and gentlemen, members of the fourth estate, there is urgent need for solidarity regardless of next year's rainfall performance. Recovery from a drought of this magnitude will take years, with extremely high humanitarian needs set to persist and even increase in 2023. We have to act now to save lives, and for this, more funds are crucial. We already have several initiatives set in motion. I joined the United Nations family in Malimin, Garissa County, for the launch of a flash appeal for $472.6 million to support 4.3 million drought-affected Kenyans in 23 ASAL counties, out of an estimated 6.4 million people projected to require humanitarian assistance across the country. The initiative will assist the gap as the drought crisis worsens. To complete these ongoing efforts, the National Steering Committee on Drought Response that we are inaugurating today will, among other things, establish a private-led National Drought Mitigation Appeal Fund and mobilize resources to alleviate the impact of drought ravaging parts of this country. The President has established the steering committee to provide a framework for mobilization of additional resources following increased public interest in scaling up of drought response for citizens affected by the drought. This team's effort will therefore be only as good as our willingness to lend a helping hand. Now, more than ever before, we need to rekindle our spirit of Harambee and be our brothers and sisters' keepers. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the fourth estate, the prolonged drought is a manifestation of the effects of global warming and climate change. Many people have completely lost their livelihoods and coping capacities and are relying heavily on assistance to meet basic needs. We cannot overemphasize the need for more resilience, building investments in drought-prone areas to enable communities to cope with and bounce back better from drought and other climate shocks. This requires enhanced budgetary support from both levels of government, development partners, and public-private partnerships to unlock the full potential of the ASAL region. We cannot and must not wait for additional rain seasons to fail in order to act. To these distinguished men and women appointed to this committee, His Excellency the President has immense faith in your capacity and ability to spearhead resource mobilization process.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua earlier on at Harambee House, where he led a drought steering committee. They are talking about some of the drought mitigation measures that the government has embarked on, including $472 million request that will act as a cushion for over 4.5 million Kenyans who have been worst affected by drought, with the number expected to rise a little bit later on. We'll be bringing you a more comprehensive report on that report a little bit later. And from there, after the push to have 4 IEBC commissioners exited from office, now at County Hall today, the hearings continue with Gladys Mungai, as you can see, who has been keeping her eyes peeled for that report and now brings us that report on what has transpired since morning. Gladys, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, Bento Njue, and like you rightly put it, it is indeed an ongoing sitting by the Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs that is listening to petitions by petitioners who want the 4 IBC commissioners sort of ousted from office. By the 4, I speak about Irene Masait, Juliana Cherera, Francis Wanderi, and Julius Nyagaya. These are the 4 commissioners that, so to speak, had opposed, or so to speak, gave a divergent opinion in regards to the happenings or the proceedings in the regards to the 9th of August general election. Remember, this is a motion between the two houses of Parliament. We have a similar motion at the Senate and at the National Assembly, and after presentation of that particular motion, we've had the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee sitting to get to understand what these petitioners want, and if indeed they have the evidence into what they are alluding. This is the second day of this particular sitting. Yesterday we had the committee hearing or receiving petitions and submissions from 2 petitioners. Today again we have had during the morning sitting we had one petitioner by the name Njue Lagat, an advocate of the High Court, who is, so to speak, wants the committee to agree with him that indeed the 4 commissioners, so to speak, insubordinated and went against the code of conduct for the IEBC and exposed the incompetence in the commission, and he wants the 4 so to declared unfit to hold public office. In his submission this morning, or in the petition, he says that owing to the fact that 3 commissioners, that is Wafula Chebukati and Bola Moyo, will be retiring early next year, the 4 commissioners who will be remaining cannot be trusted to handle the affairs of the commission. He says that they contravened Section 30 of IEBC Act of 2011, and the ultimate goal here is to have the committee agree with the petitioners that indeed the president needs to establish or declare that a tribunal be formulated to investigate the conduct of the 4 IEBC commissioners, and to see if indeed they went against the requirements in their capacity as IEBC commissioners, and eventually probably if found unfit for office, we have the position declared vacant and probably other 4 people replace them in the commission. This being the second day, it has been a full entry in regards to the submissions, and the petitioner claiming that the 4 were indeed having some sort of flourishing or cozy relationship with Azimio la Umoja or its agent, owing to the fact that what was, so to speak, presented to the members of the public is the same that was spoken by leaders from the Azimio la Umoja, and so he alludes that the 2 could be conniving to have bring the state of insecurity in the country and thereby causing the issue of disharmony. And he says that the 4 indeed do not deserve to be in office, but the ultimate decision will be with the commission. Remember that, the committee. Remember, the committee on Tuesday next week is then supposed to hear from the 4 IEBC commissioners who are accused of, so to speak, insubordinating and going against the ruling and the leadership of the IEBC chairperson and the commission in general. And what he says is that the 4 commissioners cannot be left, owing to the fact that they had divergent opinion, they can't be left to speak or to lead the other secretariat, owing to the fact that there has been an issue of push and pull in the commission. So we are waiting to hear what the afternoon sitting has in store, and ultimately from Tuesday going forward what the committee will be submitting before the plenary in the National Assembly as well as in the Senate. That is the latest from County Hall, just adjacent Parliament buildings. We'll be bringing you the live events in the afternoon. Back to you, Troy.
Thank you so much. That has been Gladys Mungai, who has been keeping a keen eye on the public participation submissions at County Hall in regards to the 4 IEBC commissioners who petitions have been filed in both houses, that's the National Assembly and the Senate, in regards to the stalemate that was after the 2022 August polls, and actually that has been one of the public participation. It began yesterday. They're supposed to submit the report so that both houses can debate and come up with a logical solution in regards to the 4, Dab Cherera 4, or even the Serena 4. And from drought matters to IEBC matters now, let's now pass out. literally, there has been a pass out, and Nancy Okware has been keeping a keen eye on that, and now joins us to tell us more in regards to the auspicious occasion. Okware?
A very good afternoon to you, Njue. We are coming to you live from the Administration Police Training College right here in Embakasi in Nairobi County, where the pass-out parade of the National Government Administrative Officers has just come to a close like 30 minutes ago. It is an exercise that was presided over by the Interior Cabinet Secretary, Professor Kithure Kindiki, and it was also attended by other officials in the national security to do with security, that is including the Inspector General of Police, Japhet Koome. Now, the officers that have actually graduated today have been urged to go out there and act as the link between the national government and the people at the grassroots level by ensuring that these people continue getting the services that are required, and they have been cautioned against engaging in activities that are not within their jurisdiction, such as engaging themselves in matters politics. In its power to ensure that they are given whatever support they need so as to continue, developing government policies across the grassroots level, including engaging in activities such as tree planting that has been government has been talking about planting trees as one of the ways to fight climate change. They have also been told to sensitize members of the public on the various policies that are affecting the populace. They has also talked about the security situation in the country, and that includes the plans to arm the chiefs and the areas that have been battling matters insecurity, such as Baringo. So the CS has said that beginning immediately, the government will be conducting a vetting exercise for all the chiefs and their assistants, just to assess their suitability to be armed. And once they are armed, they are going to the police office and also the NPR, so as to improve the security situation in the country. He has also talked about the need to focus of the various chiefs, and one of the policy statements that
Indeed, Nancy Okware live from Embakasi, the AP Training College there, giving us a brief on how the day is and talking about security matters. First of all, let us apologize for the quality of the signal. We're having some technical hitches, but she will be coming a little bit later with that comprehensive report on that. We're talking about matter security. Let's beef that up by crossing over to the volatile West Pokot County. Timothy Kipnusu has been on standby, where there have been organized a peace forum in regards to ensuring that the place is well fortified. Kipnusu, good afternoon.
A very good afternoon to you, my colleague Njue, back there at the Broadcasting House in Nairobi. Yes, indeed, just as you mentioned, I'm coming to you live from West Pokot County, whereby I'm attending a Tekla Rolupe dialogue, at the same time a peace forum. This is an initiative that is aimed at preaching a peace and getting lasting peace in a region that has been witnessing conflicts for a number of years, particularly for the Pokot and the Turkana community. And this is an initiative that always happen in November, courtesy of the world marathon champion Tekla Rolupe. And of course, we expect Her Excellency the First Lady Rachel Ruto to officiate. She is actually the chief guest of this particular function. And of course, as you know, that these two communities, the Pokot and the Turkana, they have been witnessing conflict, particularly because of water and past other issues to do, of course, castle rustling and the banditry that has been witnessed. Also, a number of people are really crying foul, saying some of the politicians are the ones that are instigating the violence in this particular region. And just to paint a picture of this particular initiative in West Pokot, I'm joined by the world marathon champion, the resilient, the vibrant, the spokeswoman of peace, and of course women's affairs and education, Tekla Lorupe. Many thanks indeed. Thanks indeed for joining us in KBC Channel 1. Perhaps what are some of the strides that you have made in ensuring there is peace in this particular region and the importance of having such forum?
First of all, I would like to say thanks to our government for having the peaceful election. That's first of thing. What Tekla Lorupe have done is not only Tekla alone. I've been supported by different institutions to make sure that our peace negotiation and also dialogue to our community, whereby they have been called warriors and they have been called bandits. So one thing I want to thank the government. I want to thank also the sponsors who have come to support, like Cooperative Bank, Kenyan, Kenya Academy of Sport, where I sit as the Athletes Commission, and of course members of media.
Perhaps what is the cause of the violence? Because for many years I know you are the Tekla Lorupe Peace Foundation has done a lot. What is the cause of violence after you've been meeting the people from this particular region and of course politicians?
I don't say about politicians alone. I think if there is a failure, it's for everybody, because when you see the terrain the way it is, a lot of resources, people are fighting because of resources. But if all of us can support these people to engage them in different initiatives, one thing, people have to eat. And I remember the president said food security is more important. How food security is going to help our people is by the government also engage together with the communities, and also education, schools. When kids doesn't finish education, what's in their minds? I'm sure that when you drove from Kapenguria or from Nairobi to this area, how many hospitals did you see on the way? How many schools have you seen? How many boreholes have you seen? Nothing. So when it comes to security alone, I think there is more than that we need to engage our people in long-term empowerment. Yeah.
Since 2003, you've been having this Tekla Lorupe Foundation, and of course, 2015 meeting athletes, organizing for peace races, and particularly in Ngong and in other areas in the other countries. What are some of the strides that you have made in ensuring that the community live in peace, even other countries like Somalia, because I understand they've been traversing all those other countries that are witnessing conflicts?
I want to tell you that the Tekla Lorupe is a small organization, and I cannot finish the conflict that is in the country, but we have already prepared a platform whereby there is a lot of love among our community. If I remember 2003, you couldn't come to this area because in security, but today you can try. That small initiative, and last year President Ruto came to support the reform warriors from Masol, and today they are here to support this initiative. They are the one today who brought the other community from interior for this peace negotiation. You see, this one step ahead, but we could have done more. We have already a school that came up because of the initiative in Kapenguria. That's Tekla Lorupe Peace Academy, whereby of course I've been supported by the TSC, and that's the MOU with the government. So the kids from the warring community, we have also kids from Turkana, from Marquette, and also from Elkoi Maasai, and also from the community. So these are the things that I will need more support from the well-wishers and also from the government and from individuals.
But what's your last message, perhaps to the politicians? Because I had a number of incidents where politicians are hampering this particular initiative.
I think what I would love to tell our brothers also and sisters from politicians that let's unite together so that our people can live in peace, so that when your people are living in peace, you will be also a very good politician to see that my people are very secure, and also they need not to talk that I want to disarm others and I want to arm. Let's disarm our people by giving them by engaging our people with good activities. Where there is education, let these people engage themselves. People who need to be cattle keepers, let's help them, especially now that we have drought. We need to give them food, what we call food security, and also restock their animals so that our people will also respect our politicians, because they are sons and daughters of this soil.
Thank you indeed for talking to us. There you have it, Njue. That is the world marathon champion, of course, or 25 and 30 kilometers, and one of the person that has been in the fore to ensure there is lasting peace in this particular region at Tekla. Chepkite Lorupe, just telling us about the strides that they have made so far in ensuring the community, the Pokot and the Turkana communities live harmoniously with one another. We'll be here the better part of today, and of course tomorrow, as I had mentioned earlier. Her Excellency the First Lady Rachel Ruto is the chief guest in this particular forum. From me, Timothy Kipnusu, I hand you back to Studio Broadcasting House, Njue.
Thank you so much, Kipnusu, for that comprehensive report. 3 things: beefing up security, improving infrastructure to beef security as well, and also to check on the drought situation, which has exacerbated the security situation in the volatile West Pokot County. Thank you, Kipnusu. We'll be having a more comprehensive report in our other bulletin. From national security to matter security examination, where the security department in Busia has arrested 2 people who were found in possession of the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Examination KCSE examination papers in Matayos constituency. Busia Deputy County Commissioner Kipchumba Ruto said that the 2 had KCSE chemistry and biology papers. They are being held at the Busia police station awaiting to be arraigned in court. Ruto has warned against any attempts to cheat, saying police are on alert to avert any forms of exam malpractices.
So ni center manager na mwalimu wa kemia ambaye ni mwanafunzi wa chuo kikuu, na center manager na huyo mwalimu ambaye ni mwanafunzi walifungua forum ama tunaita kwa lugha nyingine WhatsApp group, na iko na members 130 na wengi wao ni wanafunzi wa vyuo vikuu. Na hiyo forum, wakati iliingizwa hiyo confidential manual, instruction manuals ilisunguka, ilienda viral, ndio tukapata hiyo report, tukachukua hatua ya kuinvestigate. Baadaye mwalimu na center manager walishikwa, wote walichukuliwa hatua, walishikwa na polisi, walirekodi statement na leo waliappear. They were arraigned before a court of law, Busia, to face charges for violating the confidentiality of instruction manual, ile zile kanuni za practicals.
Away from education matters, the Kenya Society of Hematology and Oncology is calling for a multi-sectoral and multidisciplinary approach to cancer prevention and treatment in the country. Kesho chairperson Miriam Mutebi says despite the gains made by both governments and private sectors, not much has been done to lessen the financial burden on patients and empower more primary care givers on detection and provision of quality and affordable cancer treatment in the country.
Nearly 25,000 people die of cancer in Kenya annually, making it the 3rd leading killer disease in the country.
We need the decision makers to support it.
It is for this reason that stakeholders under the agencies of the Kenya Society of Hematology and Oncology converged in Mombasa to deliberate on strategies that could prevent and manage the disease.
There was a Lancet Oncology.
They call for a multi-sectoral approach across various fields of medicine to make cancer treatment affordable. Kesho chairperson Maria Mutebi said sourcing of cancer medicine directly from manufacturers and regulating fees at hospitals could ease the cost of treatment.
What are these strategies that can actually ensure, one, we drop the cost, because it's all about value-based care. You want to give quality care, but at a cost that's not going to break the bank.
At least 6,000 primary health caregivers have been trained to detect and vaccinate cervical cancer patients, a move that the government hopes to replicate in all health facilities countrywide to address the skill gap in the profession.
We have also developed the e-learning platforms. So right now, if you go to the Ministry of Health's virtual academy, you will find content for primary healthcare workers on early diagnosis of cancer.
Cancer care is not a one clinician event. It's really getting professionals to appreciate the benefit of our pooled expertise, always putting the patient at the center for us to come up with a personalized care plan.
Insurance companies were also urged to provide affordable packages to curb cases where patients discontinue treatment when they exhaust their cover.
It is only NHIF, to the best of my understanding, that since they came into the cancer space, we are managing to treat cancer patients both in private and in public. It is not ideal, but it is far better than it used to be.
Njue Sambele from Mombasa County.
From Mombasa County, let's cross over to Kwale County, still at the coast, where my colleague Hibak Said has been keeping a keen eye on the Engineers Convention. Has been for the better part of this weekend, brings us this live report. Hibak Said, good afternoon.
Thank you, Ben, Troy, Njue in Nairobi. We're coming to you live from Kwale County on the last day of the IEK convention, where the heat is competing with the resolutions that they have been making. Engineers have been convening here from Monday, and they, of course, have tabled a couple of things that they want, policies that they want to be implemented so that we can ensure that they have a streamlined sector, and, of course, we can avoid mishaps that we have been seeing in the recent past. With me, I have Engineer Kiteme. If you could just tell us, what are some of the resolutions that you have been making, and what are some of the things that you have been endorsing that should be taken up?
Absolutely. So today marked the end of the IEK International Convention, which is 29th convention, and we were able to come up with resolutions touching on various aspects that we were considering in this convention. Among them is the fact that we will enhance capacity building to ensure employability of young engineers and package them to meet the industry requirements. We have also had sessions for men and women, and we are looking at taking care of men engineers in terms of mental health and stress management, because this is affecting basically mental health as scourge right now. We have also had resolutions touching on sustainable engineering to make sure that climate vulnerability are considerations that we are going to have going forward to achieve sustainable engineering in this era of climate change. We have resolutions touching on increasing the number of professional engineers to 10,000 by the year 2027, and a couple of other resolutions touching on acceding to Washington Accord so that we can achieve international mobility for Kenyan engineers. So it has been a rich session from Monday up to today, and we are grateful the convention came to a successful end today.
Engineer Kiteme, one of the resolutions that have been tabled is the adoption of nuclear energy. What is your stance on this, and what do you think should be done by the government in order to fast-track the adoption of this energy?
Absolutely. A lot of steps have been taken towards achieving, making Kenya nuclear status, and we are grateful for the steps we have made so far. The government needs to accelerate this without stopping. A couple of them, of course, involves compliance with the measures put in by IEA, so that when you comply with them, then when you have the nuclear technology, it is safe, and we are going to have more reliable supply of power in this country. And so, yes, we have gone through the safety considerations, the compliance requirements that are required for nuclear power, and we are certified that we are on the right course to achieve that as a country, yes.
Engineer Kiteme, if you could just indulge us and tell us, there's been a really good collaboration between you, the IEK, and the EBK. What do you think has brought this about, and how do you think you can collaborate more with the regulator in order to ensure that things are run smoothly?
Well, IEK and EBK have been cooperating. EBK board has 10 board members. Only 2 of them are not engineers. That means 90% of EBK board members are members as IEK. And we also second the president and 3 more board members. And so our partnership has been very healthy. We have capacity building sessions that equip our members. By law, you cannot become a professional engineer if you're not a corporate member of IEK. And that means our partnership is, symbiotic, because then we are able to grow the capacity of our members. We are able to grow even the numbers of engineers in Kenya. And we offer CPD points for our members who are also registered with EBK. So this partnership has been healthy and is going to continue into the future.
Thank you so much, Engineer Kitame. And of course, it's not just the engineers who have convened here, but also other players within the sector, especially in the manufacturing sector. With me, I have one of the exhibitors who have been able to showcase what they can be doing and, of course, growing the manufacturing sector. Sir, if you could just introduce yourself, what is your name and what institution do you represent?
Thank you very much. My name is Clement Kitetu. I work for the Institute of Applied Project Management. We are a knowledge transfer partner with IEK and EBK, and we've been here exhibiting and trying to show the products that we have and how we streamline project management, how we help them to be able to streamline their work and to increase organizational efficiency in terms of project management.
They've, of course, endorsed during this 5-day convention a multi-sectoral approach in order to streamline all operations. If you could just tell us, what are some of the things that you're going to be doing for the engineering sector in order to make this happen?
I think one of the things I would want to do is to commend the resolutions that the engineers have made. And in our area of specialization, we are going to help them to be able to move the project management element, because project management helps to make dreams a reality. And that is what we are doing. We are in partnership with PMI, Project Management Institute. That is the biggest global project management organization. And project management is a movement, and we are going to help them to be able to adopt more project management while they deliver on their promises.
And of course, project management is a very important factor, Njue, especially in realizing infrastructural development in the country. And he's not the only exhibitor. We've had other exhibitors who are within the manufacturing sector who are helping engineers in order to ensure that the Kenyan dream is achieved and Vision 2030 is actualized. But for now, back to you in studio, Njue.
Thank you, Hibak Said, who has been in Kwale for the better part of this week during the last day. Actually, today is the last day of the engineers convention, but very quickly I've been able to pick up something for the youth is that they want to ensure that employability and meet industry standards, not to mention the increasing of engineers to about 10,000 by the year 2027, not to mention the nuclear energy. Away from that, Kenya and Finland have signed a multi-million bilateral program that will be channeled towards the fight against gender-based violence and other harmful practices in the counties of Kilifi, Bungoma and Samburu. Public Service and Gender Cabinet Secretary Aisha Jumwa said the 2022-2024 national program picked the 3 counties due to the rampant gender-based violence cases and concerns. Take a look.
The 2-year program that will run until the year 2024 seeks to put an end to gender-based violence and other retrogressive cultural practices in the counties of Kilifi, Bungoma and Samburu.
You know, I am a victim and my story is very sad. So being a gender CS, I think I will be leading from the front and making sure that these things are not with our development partners and the government to making sure that we have positive results.
Kenyan government has contributed more than 125 million shillings, with the government of Finland providing an additional 626 million shillings.
Finland and Kenya signed a bilateral agreement on this program, strengthening the prevention and response to gender-based violence in Kenya.
This as Kilifi Governor Gideon Mungar warned Kaya elders against being arbitrators in GBV cases and instead leave them to the courts of law.
Tuondoke kwa ile bila yetu ya kuweza kuweka watu pamoja na tuseme wache amalizwe nyumbani, kama ni faini itolewe, mtu atoe mbuzi ama ng'ombe ili maneno yaishe. Sasa lazima tubadilishe.
Elsewhere, a section of women peace ambassadors under the banner of Marsabit Women Caucus has petitioned Marsabit Governor Mahmoud Ali to adopt the Women's Peace and Security Agenda and integrate it into the County Integrated Development Plan. The women say through the initiative they are ready to end violence, brutality and discrimination to the vulnerable.
Tukisimama kidete na tuseme ya kwamba hatutaki vita na hatutaki waume zetu waende wasababishe maafa, kwa sababu ni sisi tunaathirika kwa kiwango kubwa.
Kushikana juu ya hii masomo vile tulielewa, na tukienda kuhamasisha na tujulishe wamama wale wengine wako nyumbani, naona tunaweza kuleta mabadiliko.
I believe women having a say in this is very important for us, and also peace or security affects women.
Moving on, a section of sugarcane farmers in Mumias, Kakamega County has opposed alleged plans to have them evicted from staff quarters at the Mumias Sugar Company. Patrick Mutimba, the chairman of the Mumias Sugar Factory Workers Union, say the move to have the staff thrown out of the houses is inhumane, claiming that the workers have not been paid their dues since the year 2019. The workers now plead with the national government to rescue close to 5,000 families from the planned eviction exercise. Mutimba made the remarks during a special annual general meeting of Mumias Sugar Factory workers and farmers.
Politicians wa Kakamega County, tafadhali sikizeni watu wenu, wachaneni na wakoloni mambo leo. Yeah. Kitu ya pili, naomba Rais Ruto, huu ni wakati wako. Tafadhali wewe ndio utamaliza maneno ya Mumias. Hao wengine wanakuja kuchukua vichache zenye zika hapa, wakitoka sisi tukilalamika wanaona kama sisi tuna waste time yao.
The former Archbishop of AIC Church in Kenya, Silas Yego, has urged Kenyans to give out food donations to residents facing starvation in the country.
Speaking in Turkana County during the distribution of relief food to victims of hunger, Bishop Yego said the situation in the county is dire, with children and mothers most affected.
Wakenya, mimi najua Wakenya ni watu wazuri. Tafadhalini sana, kila mtu kwa sehemu yako ndogo. Turkana ni sehemu kubwa sana, hakuna kaunti ingine kubwa sana kwa upana kama Turkana. Sisi sote wale mumebarikiwa, usikule peke yako.
With the livestock, which is the only source of livelihood, succumbing to the drought, the residents have been forced to rely on food donations.
Sisi tulikuwa tunategemea wanyama, na wanyama saa kila mtu anajua Kenya nzima yuwa iko, na wale watu walikuwa wanategemea mali, saa hii hakuna mali. Sisi tunaangalia Mungu na watu wa makampuni na makanisa.
Also, Migori County community health workers have received bicycle donations from the Catholic Medical Mission Board in partnership with World Bicycle Relief. The 150 bicycles will help the health workers intensify community outreach programs.
Through this partnership today, we are donating about 150 bicycles to the county of Migori. Basically, the various cadres of community volunteers. We are having individuals who support us with doing tracing at the community for people who default from ARG treatment.
And a group of students from Masinde Muliro University have started a program to donate shoes to the less fortunate students in the society. The group, led by John Marambu, distributed shoes to more than 50 pupils of Maraba Primary School in Kakamega County.
we are able to maintain these kids in school. So it is an initiative that deals with humanitarian, mostly kids.
In other news, Makueni County, in collaborations with the Kenya Bureau of Statistics, KNBS, has launched the Makueni County Statistical Abstract 2022 and Word Statistical Profiles. The initiative aims to help in the county's, decision-making, policy formulation and allocation of resources across its 30 wards. Governor Mutula Kilonzo Jr. reiterated his commitment to ensure the county has a data center that can provide accurate and reliable information for decision-making processes.
Thank you very much. We are committed to automate county government functions. This includes county statistics function. The county government will adopt technology in management of our statistics, and this will include use of modern emerging tools of information and communication technology in data collection, storage, processing, and visualization. To deepen participatory development, the county will leverage on the public participation framework to develop citizen-generated data synergy and also provide an avenue to complement and shadow official statistics and provide citizens with a voice of tracking progress and contribute to decision making.
Now, the Italian government has announced plans to unveil a training program for Kenyans working in the tourism industry so as to improve their communication with tourists from Italy. Italian ambassador to Kenya, Roberto Natali, said the program will be implemented in partnerships with the Italian Institute of Culture to train workers how to speak the Italian language to enable them communicate well with tourists.
Speaking during the annual Italian Week of Cuisine celebrations held at Medina Palms Resort, Italian ambassador to Kenya Robert Natali said there are many Italians who visit the coastal towns, particularly Malindi and Watamu, and call for social interactions between citizens of the two countries.
I'm launching with the Institute of Culture courses for Kenyan people working in this tourism sector, because a lot of Italians come to these towns on the coast, and so it is important that we have many people speaking Italian.
The ambassador said his government will continue supporting development of key projects in Kenya.
The Italian government has an important sector, which is the cooperation to development, working in many fields. Tourism, of course, education, gender, and also health, agriculture. And we have a special attention to a priority which has been expressed by President Ruto, which is the fighting against drought.
Kilifi Deputy Governor Flora Chibule, who graced the occasion on behalf of Governor Gideon Mongaro, said they are happy to partner with the Italian government on matters of tourism, gender and health, among other areas.
Huu mwenendo na hii partnership ambao tunayo siku hii ya leo ama kuanzia sasa, hakika ni jambo ambalo litakwenda kuboresha na kwenda kuinua hali ya utalii sehemu hizi zetu za Watamu na hata Malindi.
Pauline Nasimiu for Lunchtime News.
And at about 54 minutes past the hour, we are taking a quick breather, but don't go away because I'll be on the other side of the studio handling the business news of the day. I can see Gibson Nyamato. Wakili, you say you are watching. Teacher Wilson Murira, you say you're watching from Meru. Kipngeno Eric, you say I'm right here with you. Honorable Martin K.A. 2006 World Cup, there was a Japanese top player called Nahiro Nikinawa. Where did he go? Of course, the Japanese team are playing very well. They registered their first win, but for more, we'll be having this a little bit later on the other side of the studio. Don't go away. All right, let's now make sense of shillings and cents in business. The government is seeking to invest in soil mapping to increase both food fodder production. Livestock Principal Secretary Harry Kimtai says the soil testing will help small-scale farmers manage the use of fertilizer, further reducing the cost of agriculture production in the country.
Norway government is seeking to start soil testing and mapping pilot program in Kenya in a bid to increase both fodder and food production. Through a fertilizer program, Norway is seeking to help small-scale farmers identify the nutrient components of their soils to know the type of fertilizer applicable to their soils.
That's fertilizers, it produces emissions, which we want to reduce, but we need fertilizers to produce food. So we need to develop new management of fertilizers, simply use it in a smarter way. With research we can increase production of animal protein, which we need for a growing population, but producing that animal protein in a more sustainable way and reducing climate emissions.
Livestock Principal Secretary Harry Kimtai says this will go a long way in mitigating the effects of drought by practicing group crop husbandry.
Information about our soils, all that will be stored in a database which will be shared to the farmers when they want to start planting. Which crop do they want to plant? They need to interrogate that information and say, if I'm planting sunflower, then what type of fertilizer do I need to use? So all this, the farmer will be able to know when they go to the agrovet, they are able to buy the right fertilizer to use for the right kind of crops. It is through research, it's through soil mapping that we're able to know.
Soil testing is earmarked to enhance prudent use of fertilizer, reducing the cost of food production. Norway is seeking to start the soil testing program in the sub-Saharan region to strengthen the continent's food system.
But when we do the linkages between the Norwegian know-how and the Kenyan know-how, I'm sure that there's a lot of good that can come out of that cooperation.
Terry Njenga, Lunchtime News.
In other news, the Kenya energy generating company KenGen plans to install over 30 electric vehicle charging ports across the country by the end of next year. The energy generator says the move is part of the revenue diversification strategy. Already, KenGen has 2 EV charging stations in Nairobi and Naivasha, even as it plans to phase out petrol and diesel-powered vehicles from its fleet by the year 2025. Today, the company has unveiled its first 4 electric vehicles in Nairobi as part of its green energy plan.
The uptake of electric vehicles is gaining momentum as governments across the world embrace electronic vehicles due to their cost effectiveness and environmental friendliness. The government is targeting to have 5% of all registered vehicles in Kenya electric by 2025. The electric vehicle market in Kenya is still very nascent, with the country having around 1,200 registered non-fuel vehicles. This has seen the upsurge of electric vehicles startup, with firms such as Basigo entering into the public transport vehicle business using EV buses. The Swedish startup also plans to start assembling electric buses next month with a production target of 100 units by the end of 2023. Kenya Power is also banking on the electric vehicle wave as it unveiled a 40 million shillings plan to switch to electric vehicles while phasing out fossil fuel-powered vehicles and motorbikes from its fleet. The firm purchased 3 electric vehicles, 2 pickups and 1 4-wheel drive as a pilot. Power generator KenGen has followed suit, unveiling 4 electric vehicles which will be used for data collection and policy development as it seeks to phase out diesel-powered vehicles from its fleet. KenGen Acting Managing Director Abraham Serem noted that the pilot EV project will provide guidance on the phasing out of fossil fuel-powered vehicles. The pilot will further provide insights into initial technology choices for electric charging infrastructure in the country.
Today, we flag 4 electric vehicles, which include 2 SAFs and 2 double cabin pickups, which will primarily be used for data collection.
It will also drive upwards power demand and is also envisioned to boost the company's revenue by way of selling more electricity to power transportation. Plans to install over 30 EV charging stations across the country are at an advanced stage.
Is here with us. Countries around the world are racing to phase out gasoline and petrol cars. France, England, Norway, India, China, USA and the Netherlands are leading with either a call to stop the sale of internal combustion engines by 2050.
Already, Kengen said it has 2 EV charging stations in Nairobi and Naivasha and plans to install an additional 3 by end of 2023 in Murang'a, Embu and Kisumu.
Elsewhere, women farmers from rural Kenya are reaping the benefits of agriculture peer-to-peer network in a bid to address various socio-economic challenges. Under the plan, the women travel around the country sharing best practices in agriculture such as value chain processing, access to markets, and creating more opportunities. This concept has seen the women improve the economic status and their nutritional value of their diets.
According to the Rural Women Network, RWN, women in Kenya are underrepresented in agriculture and related value chains. Further, the organization says that women are often hit harder because of discrimination. To this end, women are organizing themselves for empowerment in the agricultural sector.
We believe strongly in the power of collective organizing of grassroots women, focusing on economic empowerment, building on the strengths grassroots women's groups bring to the table, and partnering with donors from Europe and elsewhere.
Speaking at an exchange visit to Ewaso Kedong in Kajiado County, leaders from over 8 groups across the region and development partners pledged their support for women farming groups.
To see the kind of value added and the impactful practical changes in keeping families able to eat nutritiously, access safe water, be able to create livelihood initiatives that include beekeeping and selling nutritious food and other things, so that donors giving money can see the level of organization and the impact of grassroots women's work in helping the communities be sustainable.
The women under the umbrella of the Rural Women Network are equipped with skills on farming, poverty alleviation, climate justice and peaceful coexistence. Women derived from Kajiado, Makueni, Kakamega and Nyanza regions are engaging in growing the African leafy vegetables ALVs to address malnutrition and food security. The women are also being trained on vegetables and poultry farming while equipping them with tips on how to mitigate the effects of climate change.
Now, the African Risk Fund Limited has rolled out a reinsurance program for small to medium guard against the impact of climate change. ARC Limited Chief Executive Officer Leslie Ndovu says this year alone, the insurer has paid out over 7.2 billion shillings in claims in the continent through its parametric insurance model relating to drought and tropical cyclones in 7 affected countries.
The African Risk Fund Limited, a subsidiary of African Risk Capacity Group, is targeting to tap into key funds launched during the just concluded Conference of the Parties of the United Nations Climate Change Conference, the COP27 meeting in Sharm el-Sheikh.
All African countries have access to this fund for subsidizing premiums, including Kenya.
The firm says this is to enhance insurance coverage among African governments and non-governmental organizations.
So financial instruments such as insurance can really help reduce the gap between the need for the funding and the mobilization of the funding.
Germany has already pledged 20.6 billion shillings for the fund. Additionally, European Union pledged to establish a 127 billion shillings fund towards the EU Africa Fund for Adoption and Resilience.
In Kenya, as an example, in the ASAL counties, we know that within the next 5 years there is going to be a drought. And again, we cannot continue to wait for raising funds externally because it takes a very long time.
Let's shift gears to sports now. Cristiano Ronaldo became the first man to score in 5 World Cup as his penalty helped Portugal secure a 3-2 win over Ghana in a thrilling Group H encounter. Meanwhile, Richardson's rich run of goal-scoring form for Brazil continued as the 5-time winners opened their Group G challenge at the World Cup by beating Serbia 2-0. Take a look.
Brazil coach Tite has made Richarlison his first-choice striker to complement the gifts of Neymar and Vinicius Jr., and he spearheaded the tournament favourites to a 2-0 win over Serbia at Lusail Stadium. In the other match, Cristiano Ronaldo became the first man to score at 5 FIFA World Cups as Portugal began their campaign with a thrilling 3-2 victory over Ghana. In today's matches, World Cup hosts Qatar faced Senegal in a crucial Group A match at the Al Tumana Stadium. Ecuador will play Netherlands. Wales face Iran while England play USA. All the